Okay, this is the inside of the control panel, which I do have pictures of it diagramming it, but it's not really packed solid full. It's just that this was a convenient size box. This was a 200 amp meter socket, and it just happened to be a handy right size to put the various switches in, outlets and so forth. The magnetic switch, manual switch, and so on, and the starting capacitor. Now this setup is made so that it can run a machine on demand, like a fan, a pump, or air compressor, and this converter will only start when the machine needs it to run. So it has some relays and other controls in it for that purpose. So it looks a bit more complicated than it would have to be for purely manual operation. But otherwise, I run a 7.5 horsepower motor generator welding machine with it, which I haven't had any troubles with. I have started 10 horse motors with it, just so far for the purpose of seeing whether or not they work, and I've tested a whole host of other smaller motors with it. So far I've been more than happy with its performance. Did a few years of research on it, and had a few tips from some people at motor repair shops and things like that. A little bit of trial and error, and this is actually probably the third version that I made, which has a magnetic start as well as a manual start. And I will have to show it running something a little later, but this gives a rough idea anyway. It's not really quite as bad as it looks. The wires are all color coded. There are some blue wires in there, those are control wires, but I kept the color scheme pretty much the way it's supposed to be throughout. And this entire setup was put together for about $50. Some of those parts in there are from Radio Shack, some are salvaged, a lot were bought at flea markets and such, and of course that converter motor was bought at an auction. And the capacitors were all salvaged out of different things like air conditioners, refrigerators, and the like. So I managed to keep the costs down, and if you build one of your own, you can too. These are parts that really aren't too awfully hard to find. But that's it for this portion. I will put the cover back on, and hopefully show this actually running something.